the web, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
I'll see you in the shadows.
And we'll see you right now because HGC is back. We're right in the middle of the series between Team Freedom and Naventic, with Team Freedom taking a decisive Towers of Doom game with 2 clean team wipes.
Just full wipes.
Yeah, this is like actual wipes.
We rarely get to see those in competitive Heroes of the Storm, you know, because often it's pretty easy to tell when things are getting sour and walking away. That just shows, you know, you really outplayed your opponents if you manage to be able to get those. And Freedom here needs to carry that to other maps, ones that they are less dominant on historically.
Speaking of that, we're ready to see where the next battleground will be. Thanks for that segue opportunity. That was just mwah.
Got him.
Team Freedom picks Cursed Hollow. That is not a norm for them.
Yeah, I don't, oh man. It is a bit scary.
Okay, so call me crazy.
All right, hit me with it.
Both Team Freedom and Team Naventic do not have a lot of games played on Cursed Hollow from Part 1. This wasn't even picked by Freedom when they did play it versus, who did they play last? B-Step. B-Step picked it. So maybe has Team Freedom been preparing a strategy specifically for Cursed Hollow? Is that what this tells us?
I think it could be, or it's more, it could be a couple of things. It could be the fact that the game against B-Step, they were like, you know, maybe we're better at Cursed than you would expect. You know, we just felt more comfortable on that map.
That is the game they lost to B-Step.
Well, then that's probably not it. So then on to the next point. It could be more of a pocket, but it also could be Naventic and Freedom. Freedom is confident on every map that Naventic would try and take them to. So it could be less of a pocket strategy and more of just kind of a, we know you're going to take us to maps we want. So let's look a little bit more towards like choosing which ones are the ones we don't want to see, you know, for that late game. Because like if I know you and I share the same hero pools, my first maps, if you let me choose, I will always choose the ones that out of the ones we both don't have in common, my favorites. And I know you're going to go, you know, I feel better on, you know, Towers and Sky, and it'd be like, so do I. So that's what I wanted. Thank you for literally giving me a free map pick.
Ah, I see. Okay, so Team Naventic, it does give them first pick, first ban. That's what they chose, given that they lost the last game. And that allows them a little bit more variety in what they want to ban, at least from what we've seen from the norm. If someone's going to deviate, it is from the Zarya ban. So Naventic take away Greymane. They don't want to deal with that from Freedom anymore. Freedom, of course, ban Tassadar. Vala, once again, the first pick for Naventic.
Yeah, that's the Vala pickup here. Twice in a row for Naventic. I want to see if that trend continues forward, but either way, it's going to force the Arthas Zarya rotation once more. What I wanted to say the first time we saw this is we know that some of the members of Naventic do at times heavily commit to studying out of Korea, and I talked about what Vala does to that whole like dynamic in the Korean drafting right now, and that's what I thought it might be, but Freedom is yet to even risk letting the Zarya go past for me to actually truly tell, right? And it's just mainly, that's the only major trend that looks Korean-ish, is just that emphasis of Vala again. In North America, because she started at the top, and then she went to the bottom, and now she's here. See, you gotta go to, you know.
I ruined it!
You started from the bottom, and now you're here? Come on. I'm supposed to be the one with the lame hip-hop references, not you.
I was trying to relate. I went through, I was like, okay, what are some normal hip-hop memes so I can relate with Dreadnought?
Just at the computer, hip-hop memes,
yeah,
beep.
It's exactly what I did.
And it was...
Crap. Didn't spot it out.
So was Zarya removed?
So I can't do this dance either?
I mean, you can. I don't know if it's acceptable. Oh, man. Do you even know what that's from? The dance, you know what?
I know it from the Kirby video.
Yeah. But with this, the Kirby video, you only know the YouTube edition version of it. All right,
yeah.
All right.
Let's move on from my meme knowledge because it is abysmal. Lucio, Ariel, double support.
Will we see the double warrior back it up? It is not a map I would suggest going double support. It will help when it comes to the shrines, but like for instance, Abathur can just destroy that type of strategy on this map. The variant ban once more.
If it ain't broke,
I like
fix it.
I like it. Again, putting Naventic's Warrior for B-Kid onto still one of two now. Johanna or Murden, will he venture outward?
Sergeant Hammer ban.
Not what I thought, but again,
These teams know each other so well.
it's just the Sergeant Hammer defense Arthas strategy. It makes Arthas used to be the go-to warrior for a defend the Sergeant Hammer. Now, with a lot of other buffs and crazy things being different, Stitches is one of those few as well. What are you giggling at?
You reminded me of a StarCraft meme that you're not going to get.
Okay, well, nice. So I got hip-hop memes and you got StarCraft memes. That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
They don't ever mesh over? You're trying to tell me, like, I get, what is it? You must construct additional pylons? I got that one.
No. Oh, no, it was, you said defense instead of defend, and it was talking about Sergeant Hammer, so I was like, you make your base and then you defense it. Did you get that?
No.
Okay. Falstad Lunara, we're moving on.
Quickly moving on. So the Falstad Matt gets a global advantage. The Haka wasn't banned out, though, so it could be met for Naventic, but it doesn't really meet the double warrior, double support too well. Arthas is already taken out, though. We know, I'm going to say it's almost 100% B-Kid is playing Murd in this game, just because Johanna just doesn't fit in this draft.
What do we think Zuna wants to play?
I feel like it's going to be just what he wants to play or what he's going to play. I feel like those are two very different heroes. My first thought is just go back to the Dahaka to try and not lose on Global, because they know macro is by far Naventic's biggest weakness, and every time they face a team that is winning in that department, to try and make up for that.
Even double support, double warrior. You know, they want to be brawling. If Team Freedom can continue to just push and siege everywhere. Leo, the other choice that could have been for B-Kid.
It's going to be a solo warrior, double support. So it seems like now the trend for North America, holy Malfury.
How did that?
Because the double support was already picked up, and then the Sergeant Hammer ban.
And it wasn't banned, yeah.
But this is, so we started out with double support, double warrior, and it's now become single warrior, double support. The last 3 times that we've seen this, I believe every time has been with a solo warrior. So removing the first iteration of the strategy, North America is now evolving to only one. And in fact, it's going to be the Leoric here in this game. I'm still not sold on Naventic's draft. I'm still feeling a little bit more comfortable with that of Freedom's.
How do you feel like a Leoric solo warrior fares with the double support strategy?
Not great, just purely based on the fact that, like, Leoric, they'll be able to heal him up and he'll be a large threat onto the front line, but until you really reach 16, he's only got 1 W every couple of seconds. You know, he's not doing enough damage to really justify throwing out your heals, so it's whether or not Vala and Li Ming can make up for that, but into the Arthas, the Falstad, and the Zarya, I just feel like the pseudo support trio there is just as strong, but way better offensively up until 16. Then things kind of break with Lucio.
But Lunara gets stronger at the same time, but Lucio Leoric.
I do really feel like Freedom having the global advantage, it's being one of the biggest weaknesses in Naventic, and their draft being even close to comparable in skirmishes really sells this. Cursed Hollow is, in my opinion, probably one of the worst maps to run double support, just based on the fact that, like, tributes are one of the most negligible objectives to exist in the entire game. The only argument you can make is maybe bosses. I can see you all ending a boss composition and saying we win every single boss, because truly that usually is the win condition.
Yeah, speaking of boss, once again, there's Gust and Expulsion Zone available for Team Freedom. They have possibilities of double Giant Killer if they just want to burst down B-Kid as fast as they can. So there's a lot going against Team Naventic, but we'll see if they can still win here and tie up the series on Cursed Hollow. Just about forgot the map.
It's all right. I always get nervous because the camera just suddenly pans
Flies
to
at
my
your
forehead.
face.
Yeah. That's what I'm always worried about. You know, it's just, how's my forehead looking today? All right, we're good. We're good. You know what I mean? When it zooms in, every time that's all I see.
You ask yourself that every time?
It's I don't know.
How's my forehead?
I wouldn't say it is an absolute, but I will, like, you know, not every single time, but it is far more than a
Than you normally would ask
about
your forehead.
Yeah. or more than just anybody with, you know, again, some self-respect. Whatever kind of let people, you know, you would admit to.
Biggie playing Ariel. Li Ming played by Zuna.
Wow. That is interesting to see. So Zuna, back on his original role. Mac is the one flexing, even though Zuna plays most of the melees. I will say that it makes sense when in a lot more just I've never, out of all the games I've ever played with Zuna in my life, I've never seen him play a single support.
I don't know if I've ever seen Lucio have an Ariel hat. There we go.
There we go.
That's gonna work a whole lot better.
The volley crown makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
Ooh, can we call this?
Oh no.
Can we call this the Princess Vala?
Sure.
Or Queen Vala? Queen Vala strategy?
Yeah, Queen Vala.
Because she wears the crown. It's the Vala crown strategy, but the Zarya comes in to be able to help it out. That's what we got to find something. It's way too prominent not to have a name, you know? We have Miranda.
You know who would probably do a better job of naming this?
I'm going to guess that it's going to be our friends watching on, like, whatever they're watching on Twitter, though, with the hashtag HGC.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You can get that back to us, as I have probably one of the best sellouts I've had in a long while.
You were playing the long con.
So the laning phase here, the three-man, Arthas is getting the rotations out. Li Ming is somehow, with Leoric, actually keeping up with the wave clear. So it's really who is more dominant here into this tri-lane. It's pretty apparent that it looks like, actually, it's almost dead even.
Yeah,
I was going to say, it feels like Freedom's pulling ahead, but then Naventic decides to drop all their mana and hope and quickly restore everyone's HP to near even.
Well, don't lose hope. You only lost one game.
What happens when you put Ariel and Leoric on the same team? Like, is it just like is it like Hopeception? Like, just breaks all the rules of Hope, or?
Well, in this case, it's demonic Ariel, so I think it's okay. It's safe.
So if you didn't take demonic Ariel, this invade attempt actually out of Naventic.
Yeah, my immersion would be ruined.
This is going to be a full 4v4.
Kenma is very low. He's going to amp it up. There's the healing, another healing too from Big Impact.
Sungrug makes it out. They're going to manage to be able to survive this. Invade was not capturing onto the camp, though. Okay, so this is where Freedom pulls ahead a lot. Is just on the Giants pressuring out on top. So Naventic wants to sit on this cap forever. Legitimate years would make them feel comfortable sitting around this tribute because that is what their comp is good at. But if Freedom just buys a bit of time, which Naventic will 100% commit to because that is what their comp is good at, and then Giants just split push all day. Falstead back and forth between mid and bottom, get some side soak, and then when you really give up on the objective, Falstead just flies top and finishes the fort.
There's a grenade that stalls Kenma, but Detainment Strike spells the end of Malfurion. He gets taken out, and Naventic can pick up this tribute.
Unless Naventic is allowed to be able to get a pick like that. So that was exactly what they needed, and things are not going to get nearly as bad for them. Falstead still yet to hit the 7 spike to capitalize on the lack of global and really macro punish onto Naventic here with their draft. So for now, Naventic's holding their own. They're doing a good job here. The Giants didn't really get anything done. Again, based off that Detainment Strike from Big E.
Naventic now sieging in the bottom lane with their double support Vala composition. Doing a lot of damage before everyone from Team Freedom can respond and get back in the lane. Falstead goes to the top lane too. And Arthas is going for some sort of wraparound.
He's decided to back out, going to respect the lane even more. So we're going to keep the casual 3 versus 3 going on down here. Naventic now, as levels have moved up, seem like they were pulling even farther ahead here. Going to be able to take the front wall for free here as the rest of members of Freedom look like they're rotating now for a night camp. Or at least some soak up on mid. They're going to go for a full gank onto a Leoric? If he can Elun's Grace after the Wraith Walk, he can. He'll hit it. But nobody there.
Yeah, he was all the way up at the gate, although the roots were there. Tribute about to spawn. Paralyzing Rage as a choice at level 7 for Leoric. We've seen a lot of different level 7s. Howling Blast. Blast through Li Ming.
very quickly there. Lunara Wraith walking, or not Lunar. Leoric.
That would be terrifying.
Lunara could Wraith walk. Yeah, that would be. It would be. She would be a much more terrifying hero if she had the ability to do that. But in fact, things are all norm in the Nexus for now. Tributes that even, kills even, but Naventic has pulled ahead in experience, which, you know, looking back is a rather surprising thing to think, considering Freedom has the fall set. They have the global advantage, and they're losing with the levels 1 through 9 on the pressure on the map based on the tri-lane being successful for Naventic there with that double support.
There you can see that very long slow. Big Impact casually jumps in with a Detainment Strike to hit Insomnia. He's being hit, but looks like A-OK for Team Freedom to survive that gank. Malfurion, no cleanse to help with those Detainment Strikes, but really with the exception of that and that. And that's the drawback when you have Leoric as your main warrior, is there's no hard CC at all.
Yeah, and the Detainment Strike is probably not going to be enough to be feared. I don't know. I can see Freedom really regretting that, based on the fact that Entomb into Detainment Strike is almost always 100% going to be a Detainment Strike on the kill target. So I can see it coming back to haunt them there, but I think, you know, if there's an argument for not cleanse, this is one of the few games that exists, right? And especially considering Naventic should be weaker when it comes to the macro play of the map, getting that Mule is really going to allow Falstad to kind of further the structure advantage here in the mid part of the game.
All normal heroic abilities for the members of Team Naventic. Same for Team Freedom. Thornwood Vine versus Leaping Strike of Lunara. B-Kid already in danger. Very nearly going down. Twilight Dream.
He ends up going down there. There's going to be the Repulsion Zone. Army is going to be used. Zugrug is looking to move up.
They're pretty low, Team Freedom are. Naventic are still max healthy, even though they've lost B-Kid, and B-Kid, he can respawn right on top of the action. So although Team Freedom get 1 kill, they have to give up the tribute.
The Giants the entire time, though, were once again sieging up on top, getting that fort about that 75% mark. So more macro advantage here for Freedom, but they haven't been able to abuse the Falstad the same way that they may have wanted to. But, you know, it's all about the curse, really, what the Falstad does to this map. So Falstad can help the 1 through 9 and get a little bit, you know, maybe an extra wave, maybe a bit extra of a front wall. But for me, the real huge underestimated value of a global on Curse Hollow is the fact that the first curse for Naventic, if they get the next tribute, just isn't very good, because Falstad can side soak the entire time, then join on the fight where they all look to siege. Hold on a minute, though. We got this boss started, and Naventic knows Li-Ming is top and has. Oh, but
that's a gust early on, but remember they still have Expulsion Zone. They're not even going to step on the point without Li-Ming too. So Naventic shows up to the party, but doesn't actually want to participate.
And Falstad actually flew up top too. So that is going to be a 1 versus 1 over the tribute for a bit. And not getting that free damage means Zuna no longer has the upper hand in the skirmish. With the boss pressuring out, things falling apart here at 8 minutes for Naventic.
Pressure in mid, pressure on bot because of the boss. Team Naventic have some mercenary camps down the bottom to help at least zone. They'd rather get into the team fight.
He's isolated.
Yeah, he's within that. He's used Army of the Dead too, but there's just nowhere to go, and Tomster rips through that health bar with his strafe. Zuna looking for resets. Team Freedom saying, no, that's okay. We'll just let you have a curse.
And so grabbing this curse with the boss alive up on bottom and the threat it's going to have, somebody may look to go to bottom. Honestly, the boss is sitting dead. Yeah, expectedly so, I guess, just because based on the fact that is the only one sieging up. But again, the Falstad having a global, what that does here is normally you want to group up and try and make the members of Freedom lack on the experience, but the Falstad is going to be such a huge band-aid, and then only furthers when you have a curse. It amplifies and minimizes everything for when you have one and when your opponent has one, and that is what the globals really actually provide more than anything on curse. I think that's just underestimated because everybody sees the tribute and they're like, yeah, you can fly. That's really good. And it's like, no, 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 no. When the curse happens, the entire curse play changes if you have a global and they don't.
He's doing a great job of keeping Li-Ming at bay in the top lane, too. Arthas is starting to head bottom lane, too. There is no fort yet taken out for Team Naventic.
And it's again because if you're Naventic, if you really want to open up the map with an early curse, because it only disables structures, so you're relying on the minions who scale through time, what that does is you essentially have to commit as 5. And when you commit as 5, that's really good, except for you only make your opponent lose experience when the curse ends, because we talk about how the minions will always clump on the side lanes. So you cycle through one, you cycle to the other 4, and you all in, and then the opposite lane is always the one where the free experience sits that you ideally want to deny by keeping your opponents busy. But again, when you don't have the global advantage, that is all not possible. The first tribute, if your opponent, like for that curse, for Naventic not having the global, legitimately got them 1/4. And that was all. And think about how long it took them to capture that much of an objective, right? This isn't just a misplay thing. This is more of a compositional, strengths and weaknesses, what those things provide.
And Falstad caught the monster wave in bottom 2 that was there after the fort went down. So keeping up in experience, and with 1 tribute, Team Freedom have made it through the first curse.
They have endured the storm, but it's all about the next couple of tributes and, the bosses that we already saw. 1 go down, the Gus versus Expulsion Zone boss control, and, Naventic doesn't have about any, especially not having the Wave of Force there on Li Ming. It's going to be really scary if we see a boss fight going on later.
Yeah. Gust, Expulsion already. Naventic didn't have Li Ming at the last boss fight, so they weren't
even then, like
Twilight,
we didn't even see the Twilight Dream impact that it's going to have.
Yeah.
It's just there are a lot of great tools. And Freedom here is now finally abusing their macro play. They are losing the top lane, but they're trying to get Falstad to get the side soak elsewhere.
And poking in on the fort in mid, trying to take that down before rotations come in from Team Naventic. 15 versus 15, unfair advantage showing up for Lunara. I see that a lot when paired with Arthas especially, because her poison does 50% bonus damage to anybody who is slowed.
50% of Lunara damage is a lot on her poison. It's just, I was just sitting there thinking, I was trying to take that in. I was like, what does that really translate to in terms of numbers? I was hoping I could convey a middle ground to get it across, but I don't really have answer. It goes from 3 auto attacks and you're almost dead to 3 auto attacks. In fact, you are dead. That's all I've got. That's the closest it gets.
But there are double support still for Team Naventic to try to heal through that. And one of the best batteries in the game.
There's going to be the delay, but without 16, Freedom gives up another tribute.
Wisp sitting on Naventic's boss to watch out for when Naventic want to try to take that. They're even gathering, checking it out, looking for anybody to rotate in. They do see Kenma.
He's going to force him to use his amp it up there. Still yet to choose a 16. He's going full Iacona. With the double backline and all squishies with the buff, according to the logic that we saw out of Iacona earlier today, it should not be Rejuvenescencia. Did I nail that one that time? No? Okay, that was close.
I believe in you. You're going to get it one day.
Either way, rather than going with a percentile, but
bring it together instead.
He's just waiting it out. I'm actually anxious now at this point. I really want to know what he's going to go into a double support.
Wisp walking in, spies with its little weird face eyes. That Team Naventic are taking their boss.
Leo's at 16 too, so the damage output he's going to have in threat he provides here, as long as he lands all his W's, there's going to be the first. It was broken too quickly, so he's not going to have another one off cooldown. Not even a way to fake a power play here. The respective bosses were captured. This tribute's going to be picked up by Naventic. No way, he didn't get that channel in time? I thought Sugrug would go to get the interrupt, but he gave it up as well.
Yeah, Team Freedom have been very willing to allow Team Naventic to have these tributes.
I mean, Cursed Hollow's objective is debatably one of the weakest in the entire game. Which I think at first glance seems really surprising. When you think about, like, man, think how devastating curses really can be at times. But I think that's more an unorchestrated play. In competitive play, you know, the tributes and what they actually make happen is just, sometimes I question if it's a smart strategy just to get to 2 tributes for both sides and both people just go, we're going to wait it out. you know, in a perfect world, is that the best way to be able to play the game? Because again, the objective is going to scale through time because you're waiting on minions.
But is the concern so much that they are afraid to get into a team fight versus this double support composition, in that they're hoping they're going to win the macro game because they do have false start? Because so far they've never really been that far ahead.
But right now is going to be the first time, because that is a no Li Ming Naventic. Gus was used. There's the Entomb. B-Kid takes a lot of damage, and he goes down along with Vala, the damage source. Only the support survived.
Yeah, that was an incredible Twilight Dream. It hit so many and especially big impact, so he did not have Crystal Aegis. Kenma uses his sound barrier, and Zuna will get there just in time to say goodbye to Team Freedom. Team Freedom gets a second tribute.
They get the second tribute. What else are they going to get, though, with this couple of second advantage? It looks like a denial of Knights. I really want to see that mid-fort fall, opening up the map a bit more, and again, furthering that experience. Focus here for Freedom has to be now onto the 20 game before that tribute is up, and I don't think they're really going to get it. Leoric is such a weird hero, man. When he does stuff like that, it's just every time. he just decided to casually link his soul to somebody else, remove their health, steal it himself, and then turn into a spooky ghost and walk through a gate. Like, it's just, the whole concept of him is just so weird.
He's spectral. There's that paralyzing rage right into the Entomb, but Expulsion Zone on the other side may save Dainsky's life.
Look at that.
It indeed
Lunara.
does.
Oh man, so much damage there.
Oh, you might call it an unfair advantage.
You may. This tribute's going to spawn. Tomster getting the strafe. He's going to try and isolate Falstad there, who's split onto the left-hand side. B-Kid questioning if he's going for the flank. Nasmus falls very, very low. The Aegis is going to be forced. And oh my, Team Freedom turns it around. They get the pick onto Ken. Zugrug's going to drop the army, and suddenly this is full retreat for Naventic at curse point of all things.
There's 2 dead at the start of this curse, but Leoric will try to cheat death and come back as soon as he can. If they can delay this longer, they do take out Zugrug, fly behind, and
he's regretting that one real quick.
Yeah.
He's going to barrel roll away. Tribute's going to be captured, and there's going to be a curse even with a man down. So Freedom have 20 seconds to make something happen where they have a man up. In every other case, they will be down a human being. Man, that is one of those rough positions where you can't wait on the curse. You have to capture it because it's so late into the game, but being a man down, you're like, guys, I really don't want to get this unless I know I can get a minimum of 1 to 2 keeps.
Yeah, they have 20 advantage, but without Arthas to be the frontliner.
You see how easy it is to zone, even with the Vala and just the Ariel alone. Nasmus goes, I can't move up to this. I don't know how many people are there. And we look like we have ourselves another lackluster curse.
B-Kid will chase everyone out from mid. What are our timings on bosses? 50 seconds bottom, 35 in the top.
Dude, those autos come all the way over. Look at that. Boop. Always found that so fun whenever that happens to me in the middle of the game, especially when it's the one that kills me.
Yeah, I'm sure you find that one especially fun.
When you're like, oh man, I'm getting gigged. Holy cow, I can't make this out. And then you start the flight, and then your health bar is just ticking down. You know, like Medic feels that too when she drops the medevac drop shit, and you're like, I just need a second, just 1 second, and then you manage to make it out.
And you're like, woohoo!
And you're like,
I just bested you. Oh yeah!
And then just homing missile, Vala arrow, just pew, dunzo. That feels bad. So we have Naventic's boss up. Their keeps are not down, but they are so weak that, you know, you can pretty much look at them, they're going to bend. Both teams questioning if they're going for an invade. The boss is going to be started first by Freedom, a close second by Naventic.
This is much better for Team Freedom.
Yeah, than it is for Naventic, just based on the weakness of the curse.
Yeah, both have their giants, but that keep is low enough that Freedom can escort, be okay. Especially because they have a global, so they could even, if they want, send Falstad back.
All right, so this is a tough decision-making moment. Freedom has to decide if they want to push with this completely, which obviously they're stepping out, but Naventic actually could send one person to try and split push top and safe defend this. A 4 versus 5 at 19 minutes in is, even with the boss, is not a game over push.
It is a quandary.
They're going to stick together. BK with a Wraith Walk that he pretty much didn't move out of. Tomster already takes a lot of damage, forces a sound barrier.
Yeah, he vaulted sort of around the wall, and so he went back in. Twilight Dream from downtown as Collusion bolts in. No kills yet, but Insomnia is looking for it. Gust isolates Zuna away from the rest of the team. Zugrug's diving deep.
But they just used all their tools already here, so this is actually giving Naventic a chance to not end this or not lose this game yet. That's going to be the first pick onto Freedom.
That's a reset for B-Kid, or for Zuna, but it's not going to matter. 25% and falling is the core of Team Naventic. Team Freedom will win game number 2.
With only taking about one fight the entire game, it felt like just, again, using the idea of knowing they had the global. I do like to see that from Freedom here in this game because it did feel like they were like, man, their biggest weakness, we know what our biggest strength is, how can we try and abuse that? It might have not been like perfect, you know, but it was still just seeing that they're considering this now. What is their comps, a win condition? How can we, you know, limit that and further our own strengths? I just love whenever we can see a team, especially when learning as they're playing here at HGC.
Yeah, they were uber patient with the tributes to the point that Naventic were able to get one curse and then be able to try to get even more and started on the next one until the double boss play. And Li Ming was spotted out defending. And once they realized that Team Freedom had the advantage there, that was one big team fight that they were able to commit to. The curse wasn't the greatest for them, but it weakened the keeps enough to make the next boss play more favorable for them. They understood that they had all the control, and Naventic traded out with them instead of trying to defend that boss. And that is how we get to 2-0 so far in this best of 5 for Freedom.
They didn't. Again, another situation where I said in the series, and I go, I did not think that we would be here not this clean from Team Freedom, and they are one game away from being able to close this out. I don't know if Naventic's got it in them. We've seen them slowly just crumbling. They had a moment of, you know, reforming themselves, you know, almost the renaissance of Naventic to come back in part 2, but it didn't last nearly as long as almost every other team. Honestly, the only teams that came in guns, you know, blazing right out the gates and then actually took a step back as heavy as Naventic feels like only our top teams, which being Tempo and Gale Force Esports.
Well, Naventic are down.